And welcome back. Welcome back to Power Players. And we've got Isaac Suffren with us, a former D1 collegiate basketball player to a multi-six-figure trader. He's the owner of Blueprint Lifestyle. That's where he's taught a huge number, 35,000, if not more, people the ways of the market. I'd like to say, welcome back, Isaac. How are you today?
I'm good, Eddie. Appreciate you for having me back on today.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming back here as a fan favorite. We had a lot of people sending in emails. Let's get Isaac back on Topstep TV, and we got you here today. Now, let's start out today for those that do not know. Tell us about yourself and where you're from.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up, I moved around a lot, but born and raised in Atlanta before moving to Charlotte for high school. Basketball was pretty much my identity. Growing up, my whole family played college basketball, D1 level. I had a few members play, run track at a Division I level, football Division I level. So I come from a family of athletes. But even so, I've always been very business minded, trying to get my own way. Eventually 2020. To the end of very, very beginning of 2020, I got into trading and was able to take advantage of, although it was a pretty dark era for a lot of people, I was able to take advantage of the COVID era where we were just locked in the house.
Right.
And pretty much dedicated my time to coming out of there with a new skill. And I was able to, focus up on trading for, quite a while without any other responsibilities. And, fast forward to, 2023, here I am right now.
What gave you the idea for Blueprint Lifestyle?
It was never it's very interesting. So most people create a business for money. Right. Creating Blueprint was genuinely to help people because people kept, coming to me, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? Hey guys, let me actually form a group since so many people want to, let's actually create a space. Then it went into, it just grew bigger than I ever imagined it would grow. And then as time went on, the mission became more obvious. And now there's a team of almost 15 people that help Blueprint operate on a day-to-day basis. And we've been able to do some really good things. And that's how it came about.
Let me ask you, Isaac, what sort of was the click that said, hey, you know what? I'm getting this pretty good. I understand what's going on. I've got people asking questions. Let's get something going here. What was the click?
Yeah. So, business is business. You find an opportunity and you're able to capitalize on the opportunity while having really great intentions. There was actually a guy, his name is Chris Johnson. He was the first one that kind of got me halfway interested in the market when he started talking about more on the investing side, not trading side. And one of the things he says was, hey, you learn a skill and you could do a really good job of capitalizing off that skill by showing other people how to do the exact same thing. But obviously, a lot of people try to do that. And, some people are less ethical than others. But I think one thing that's always separated Blueprint from other businesses, other groups, other education platforms is the fact that, our intentions have always stayed the same. Reputation is very big, very important to me. And having a group of people that work with Blueprint and help Blueprint grow, having the same morals and ethical standpoints, that's something that's helped us grow over time while doing, our very best to help everybody who comes our way.
Right. I've been in this business since 1985, and I'm telling you, I learn something new every day from our Topstep, some Topstep speakers, all the way to our community here in chat. So it's a never-ending process. You're always learning something, which is great.
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask you, what markets are you trading right now?
I'm mostly on NASDAQ. That's almost my everyday. Sometimes I go back and forth from futures and options, just depending on how I feel. But I've always been super consistent in what I trade. Like even when I trade options, I'm usually with, the NASDAQ or SP 500. When I'm trading futures, NASDAQ, SP 500, very rarely I'll trade crude oil. But I would say on a day-to-day basis, I'm mostly trading NQ.
Okay, trading that NASDAQ, that speedy market.
I know.
What's your time frame on that? What are you watching on a time frame?
So for me, I use multiple time frames. So
Okay.
I'm a price action trader. I don't use many indicators at all, right? The only indicator I will use is the 9 EMA. And that's solely because it's a great trending indicator, helps me kind of maintain trades as well as manage my risk when the time comes. So I usually start my days on and I could actually break it down for you on the charts real quick, if that's okay, Eddie.
That'd be fine. We'd love to see that.
Sure. So for me, my day starts off on the daily chart. And the reason that is because I want to see the bigger picture. See, a lot of times what you'll see is, people kind of, from what I've seen, people like to make really drastic decisions about where the market's going to go based off individual days instead of the bigger picture. So I'm a bigger picture kind of guy. So for me, we look at, the daily chart. Obviously I erased all my levels, but I'll put some back here. Obviously, we've been on a very strong uptrend the last few days. I've also noticed that, hey, we actually broke above this trend line resistance that we had as well. Not only that, but I did have a key support level that we broke through on Friday. So that's just a couple things I'm looking at just from a bigger picture play. Now, obviously, just because we broke out doesn't mean we're going to keep going. Doesn't mean, we could consolidate, we could chop. Who knows, right? My only goal being on the bigger time frame is me trying to just again get that bigger picture, that maybe possibly general direction. Now, one thing I noticed, hey, we've been on a multi-day uptrend. So obviously, maybe we need a pullback, maybe we need something to possibly go further. Those are just things I'm thinking about, right? So as I start on the daily, then I go down to 4-hour, hourly, really just depends. And that's when I start really zooming in a lot more to, get those levels, right? Obviously, we're not going to take trades on the daily, but I want to make sure that I'm aware of everything that's going on. So that may still be, zooming out, making sure I'm getting everything. Obviously, these levels are going to be, as we go down in time frame, you'll have more and more levels. But this is what the day looks like for me. I have that previous high of day, right? We had our pre-market low. I'm always aware of pre-market high as well. And I'm going to assume this didn't happen yet, because then we'll get into the trade I took today. But this is what my charts are looking like today, right? Do we have any trends that I need to be made aware of? Even understanding the situation again, we've been on a multi-day uptrend, right? Just because on an uptrend doesn't mean we're going to continue, right? For me, one thing I'm thinking about is, hey, we had a massive move on Friday. Usually what follows after that, a massive move, some type of chop, some type of consolidation before the buyers can pick up the volume and keep on going, or maybe the buyers aren't as strong anymore and the sellers step in, right? So those are the things I'm thinking about. So then we go to the 15-minute, right? Zoom in even more. And okay, so now we look very interesting, right? Because pre-market, one thing I've noticed is, hey, we have or actually, let me go back to the hourly. I forgot to mention this part. So one thing I'm thinking about as well, let me actually get rid of this real quick, is, hey, okay, we've been on the uptrend for a while, right? Buyers were ridiculously aggressive on Friday. Bigger time frame showed that we did break out of key levels very, very aggressively. But coming into today, coming after a move like Friday, I'm also knowing that, hey, we're starting off the day with a lower high. Or I'm sorry, was that right? Lower high? Yeah, lower high. Meaning that, hey, we have a high right here, then we have a lower high right here. Oftentimes, not saying nothing is ever absolute in the market, but one thing I think about when I see this is, hey, we may possibly start having some type of trend reversal, right? Not because I just see this on any time frame, but it is on a more so bigger time frame. I am seeing this on the hourly time frame, which as a day trader is a very important time frame for me. But then again, I'm also at the back of my head still understanding that, hey, we are breaking, we did break a daily level on Friday. So that's something you do have to consider regardless.
Right.
So that brings, go ahead, please.
No, I like the way you've got a checklist that you're sharing with us, and you're going over each point what I'm looking at. Is there anything here? No, let's move on. Anything here? It looks like it's going to happen. And then we get even closer and you're saying, hey, the opportunity looks good. So I like that. I like that checklist that you do.
Absolutely. And the best part about it is that price action is price action. So the same setups I see on the 5-minute, I could very well execute those same setups on the 15, 30 hourly. Only difference is the amount of time those setups take the form. And also, the bigger the time frame that you find one of these setups, the more aggressive the breakout is going to be, right? So that's why I'm able to use multiple different time frames, get those perspectives, and and it kind of opens me up to more opportunity because I used to only use the 5-minute, but then I realized I'm limiting myself to 5-minute opportunities and that's it. And then I opened it up to the 15, 30 hourly, and I found myself not only being able to find more opportunities, but even finding more confirmation for the plays that I took because I found multiple reasons why I should be in this trade on multiple different time frames.
Right. You pull back and you see the bigger picture. And it's giving you more opportunities. Now, speaking of the fast market and the NASDAQ that you're trading, you're out in Vegas. This question came in. You're going to be checking out the Las Vegas F1 race this weekend?
I will not because when Vegas has events, the traffic is absolutely ridiculous. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
You go on the strip, you better get a bike. You'd go faster with that because you won't. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think there was an Ed Sheeran concert. Topstep, actually, we had a Topstep event in Vegas, in September, end of September. And I think there was an Ed Sheeran concert at the same time and you couldn't go anywhere. It was ridiculous. Traffic was absurd by the strip. So
he's got priority over Topstep. I gotta talk to his agent. Here's a question from chat. As far as discipline, Isaac, are there any similarities between being a D1 athlete and being a trader?
Oh, I would say it's in the same field in terms of the level, the level of discipline you need to have. In trading, you have to do a lot of stuff you don't want to do on a daily basis, right? I want to hold this trade longer. I want to size up heavier, right? I want to trade just because the market's open, even though I don't see my setup, right? And in athletics, hey, you got to train when you don't want to train, right? You got to eat a certain way, even though you don't want to eat that particular way, right? You have to give 100% every single day, and you have to have one of the hardest adjustments I had to make from high school to college was, and meanwhile, my college coach played under Mike Krzyzewski, which was, for those who don't know, the greatest coach of all time at Duke University basketball. Coach K. And there were two coaches that were under his three coaches that played for Krzyzewski, championship teams, right? And so they brought Krzyzewski's mentality with them, right? That's just how they coach. And let me tell you, one of the hardest things that I had to overcome as a D1 basketball player was consistent effort, right? Doing good one day isn't good enough. Doing good for a week isn't good enough. Giving your all for a couple weeks isn't good enough. That's expected every single day, right? And there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Because if you don't do it, right, if you're good 6 out of 7 days a week, hey, that one mishap may cost you some playing time. Oh, now the coaching staff can't trust you, right? Now the coaching staff, has an opinion formed about you based off, hey, we don't know what this dude's going to bring because he's not consistent enough. And in trading, the only way you're going to see results is if you're consistent, right? Consistent with your approach, consistent with your risk management, consistent with your setups that you take, consistent with the level of aggression that you're trading with, right? You can't size one contract, and be really good at that. Then all of a sudden you're trading 10 contracts thinking that you're ready to size up, right? So there's so many different similarities, and honestly, you can go on and on and on. But I would say that's the biggest part for me, that every day showing up.
There's a lot of stress being an athlete and having somebody that you've got to check in with as a coach, manager. But when we're trading, we're our own coach, our own manager. We're the second voice telling you, hey, let's work on this or watch out for this, like your checklist that you had. And I think that brings a lot of success to traders when they've got that second voice, when they're questioning themselves, when they're complimenting themselves, when they're patting themselves on the back saying, hey, you know what? Next trade will be better. I think that gets you through a lot.
Yeah, I mean, self-talk is very important because you have to understand you understand, you've been doing it since 1985, but you have to be. So one, we are going to be our own worst critics, right? Nobody's going to be harder on us than us. And you have to understand with that dynamic, dynamic that comes with trading in the market, you're also the only one on your team. You're also the only one that can control. Team. Yeah, that's it. So you have to have a way to talk to yourself in a way that is only beneficial. Because I see people, again, you understand the business I'm in, the education business. You have to understand that, hey, I get a lot of people that come to me with so much self-doubt and just talking bad about, oh my gosh, I suck. I'm not smart enough to do this, but then they also want my help. I'm like, dude, the first step is you have to believe you can do it in the first place.
Right. You hit the hammer on the nail there. You got to have, right. I mean, you've got to believe in yourself. You got to have the passion. You got to have the desire. You got to want, especially in this business, because there's a lot of rejection that might sit you on your ass or turn you the other way. But for those that keep getting back on the horse, those are the people that see success. Well said. Well said. Let me ask you, Isaac, strength. What's your strength in trading?
My strength in trading is I have short memory. I have short memory after the good days. I have short memory after the bad days. I think one thing that a lot of people do is they think about the previous trading day on the current trading day. Like there's some people who had a really good day Friday and they're still riding that high. So maybe they oversized today. Maybe they were really aggressive today, or maybe I don't know what happened and they gave some of that money back. There's somebody who had a really bad day on Friday and they're revenge trading, or their mindset, their mind is just skewed. They're not fully prepared for the day. I believe it's great to have short memory after good and bad days because, hey, after a good day, today's trading day has nothing to do, the success of today, the failure of today has nothing to do with the previous day at all. And I think that's a really good strength to have, because I then approach every day with the same level of seriousness and the same level of respect, because it's the market. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I could do all this charting and stuff, and I could be completely wrong. So you have to give the same level of respect to each and every day.
Right. How about a weakness? I mean, I catch myself a lot falling back into bad habits, but since I've did it for so many years, I can see the red flag as soon as it pops up, and I don't get myself in trouble too much. But what are some of the weaknesses that we all have, that something that you've experienced?
Yeah, one of my weaknesses, man, is that I am so freaking competitive. With every single thing I do, and in the market, you're competing against. It's not a competition, but if it were to be, you're competing against yourself. How can I be better than I was the previous day, the previous week, the previous month, the previous year? And I think, when you put a level of work in, you expect great results. But sometimes, hey, today's not your day. This week's not your week. And I feel like sometimes I fall into, I guess you could put it under the category of emotion, where I would just be so freaking mad, like, bro, I knew better than that, or like I expect myself to do a lot better than I do sometimes. But hey, then that self-talk comes in, right? Yeah, and sometimes like every trader, I go on tilt. Sometimes it just happens, right? It's definitely not as bad as it was, 2 years ago, where I can now just step away, because now I feel like I am at the certain skill level where if I don't make money tomorrow or today, I'm confident I can make money the next day, just because I put a level of work in that kind of gives me that confidence.
Right.
But yeah, I would say that that's my weakness, and just like I'm just ultra competitive, but I need to sometimes do a better job of, hey, just shift the perspective. That's all it is. It's how you view things, is how you think about things. So that's one of the things I'm constantly working on.
Ultra competitive. I mean, that's a blessing, because the thing is, it's going to be that hot coal under your butt. It's going to be, it's going to be the voice that says, you know what, hey, you could do this. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think every trader does need that. That's something very important. As far as your trading goes and so forth, how about risk? How do you manage risk in your trades?
Yeah. So if let's take prop firm accounts, for example.
Okay.
When you trade prop accounts, you don't necessarily have to think about things on a numerical level in terms of how much money you're risking, because it's really about contracts, right? So when it comes to risk, I always tell people, hey, don't try to move faster than you're emotionally capable of. And what I mean by that is, so back before I knew what prop firms were, I used to trade, like I said, I traded options. And one of the biggest problems I had was that I over risked. And I didn't understand the concept of less is more. Right.
Right.
So what I did, I remember I used to be in $25,000, $30,000 trades, right? In one trade. And I would make, $5,000. And in my head, I'm thinking it's a great trade, but in reality, that's a horrible trade. You're risking 20, you're putting on, not risking, because you're not going to lose 25, 30,000 in one trade, even if you're sizing that heavy, but you're putting on 25, $30,000. If you have a $5,000 win, that's horrible. And I started to realize that. So what I did was I remember liquidating my account, and I left $5,000 in there. And I said, you're going to work on maximizing trades, holding following your trading plan. And you're going to make sure that you do this, and you're consistent with the growth for a certain amount of time before you level up. So when we think about prop firms, right, we take Topstep, right? Let's say you have $100,000 combine. Or express funded, whatever it is. And you have obviously that 10 contract limitation. I tell people that people that come through Blueprint, hey, look, right now you feel you're on this high because you have access to money that you really didn't have in your personal account. Now, here's the thing though. You don't want to just get rid of this account, right? Let's say you're a new trader. New traders, hey, focus on trading with a certain amount of size, being consistent with that, not consistent in income, because I was consistent, using $25,000, $30,000 and then making $5,000. But you want to be a trader that maximizes trades. You want to be a trader that's emotionally removed from the trade. You want to be a trader that's consistent in those two things all the time. And the way you do that is, hey, I know I'm a new trader. I know that I can't really handle the volatility of NQ. So I can't really handle the volatility of ES even. So maybe let me trade the micros. Right. And let me practice scaling in. So even as I scale in, I'm mitigating risk. Right. I'm not going to hop in a full position as soon as I get in a trade. If it goes against me, I lose a lot of money. If I scale in, then I'm able to slowly build my position. Right. And then, hey, I'm a new trader. I'm still not comfortable sizing heavy yet. So I'm going to trade micros, and then I'm going to scale in with my micros up until I get 1 mini. Right. 10 micros, 1 mini. Right. So that's one thing that I did. And then as I proved to myself emotionally and financially that I was able to consistently trade that size, then I slowly increased my size. But some people think one good week with this size is grounds to, size up the next week. But for me, it was a, 3 to 5 to 6, 7 month process before I really started scaling up. So that's like kind of one of the foundation of risk management for me.
See, that's strong management skills, where you're not pushing the envelope too quick, where you're not rushing yourself through the strategies and so forth. And I think that's what a lot of people need to understand is take your time. All right. Things aren't just going to change. Like you said, you have a good week and then the next week you're sizing up. The possibilities of risk of losing that whole week plus. So gradually, so you're not getting hit very bad. That's well said. How about, since we got your charts available here, some of the questions are coming in. How do you determine to enter a trade and exit a trade? What are you looking for, Isaac, when you enter a trade?
Okay, yeah. So first off, before I even show you guys the charts, I want to let you guys know that what I look for is what I practice, right? What I look for is what I train my eyes to see all the time. The setups I'd say I only have maybe 2 or 3 setups, Eddie. I don't have a lot of stuff that I trade that I look to trade, but I try to limit myself to high quality setups. In my opinion, a high quality setup is one that you look for all the time. One of my biggest problems when I was a beginner trader was I used to try to trade every single move. Look, sometimes I just simply at this point I don't care about if the market moves if it wasn't in my strategy, right? So that's just first things first. So I'll kind of break down today's trade that I took.
Okay.
I only took one trade.
Cool. Okay.
I was one and done. I traded NQ. So I think last time we left off, I was on the 15-minute chart. And if we go down to the 5-minute chart, this is what I was looking at with the team this morning. Right. Again, we noticed on the hourly we had that higher low. Right. That's just one thing I'm thinking about. And then I saw that we were kind of holding this pre-market level here. Right. I saw that we have a level here. Right. Even if we extend this to the left, we can see that this is a pretty decent level. And I'll zoom in just a little bit so we can see it. Right. Made a move down, consolidation. Right. I'm already thinking, hey, we need some type of pullback. Possibly we're having that higher low situation on the hourly chart. Right. We even broke this trend line, if you will, going into today. So there's a lot of different things that help me want to be short today. Now, I will say one of the hardest candles to trade in the entire world is NQ's opening candle. That candle is so doggone volatile. Right. So I will say I did get in shorts on this initial candle, but did get stopped out once we started retracing here a bit. And then eventually it committed down below that level. This here was a key level for us this morning. And let me put this and I'll show you why. Right. If we go on. Oh, I think it's already there. Never mind. There we go. Cool. Right. So for us, we wanted this move under this 15,511 level for NQ.
Okay.
So really my style of trading, I'm a breakout trader, right? Breakouts, breakdowns, and reversals. That's usually what I look for. So for me, again, finding multiple reasons to want to get in this trade is key for me, right? So if you break this down, hey, we not only did, we're pretty much, we broke this trend line. We have that higher low in the hourly. We went on a massive move on Friday, right? So either we're going to get a lot of consolidation or maybe a pullback, right? Even though this one was a kind of a pullback and then we took off. Anybody who trades in Q knows you don't need that big of a move to make a decent amount of money. And on top of that, again, the only indicator I use is a 9 EMA. So not only did we break under this pre-market consolidation, right? Volume, obviously, beginning of the day is going to be really good. We're respecting this 9 EMA, meaning that, hey, we tested the 9 EMA, we rejected, we tested again, did we reject it? And then our final price target was here, which is a level I had right here and, before this as well. And so we call it really, honestly, an absolutely amazing move, right? 3 bearish candles to the downside. And then once we started seeing us slow up a little bit, then we decided to get out the trade. One of the things that I know a few of my guys had questions about was, Isaac, how do you hold a trade when, something like NQ, as powerful of a ticker that is, pulls back, right? Because you can see right here, we had a pretty decent pullback for NQ. Now, for this particular trade, I made just over 12,000. But even on this pullback, I went from probably up 7 to up 3, right? So that's a pretty big swing for a lot of people. How I hold this trade, I believe. Let's see if we can see it here. If it shows on this one, I may need to update the setting. Yeah, that won't work.
Okay.
But for me, one thing I look at volume a lot. So when we break out, obviously we want a lot of volume. When we pull back, a lot of times with these pullbacks, if you want to, for me personally, if I want to determine whether a pullback is actually going to be like a reversal or if it's just going to be a simple pullback, I usually look at the volume. Usually pullbacks with low volume aren't really going to be really great pullbacks. They're just going to probably be a retest or something like that. Not only that, but we are respecting the 9 EMA. For me, I like to use this as when we're beneath it and I'm short, I'll use it as a resistance level. And if we break back above it, then I will most of the time get out my trade if there's not a level down here that I'm already looking for it. But yeah, that was my trade today. Just a simple 5, 10, 15 minutes from opening to about 9:45, 10, and then that was it for me.
Now, let me ask you, what's the best trade you've ever made?
Ooh, the best trade. The most profitable trade I've ever had was, I think it was 63,000. Yeah,
Trading the NASDAQ, right?
This was, I believe this was SPY. I believe this was ES. It was
Okay.
like an all-day hold. It was a massive trade.
That's a nice number. That's a real nice number.
Yeah, it is.
Let me ask you, Isaac, how do you stay abreast with the ever-changing financial markets? Do you follow the news? Do you read the eco?
You know, I may have an unpopular approach to this, but I actually try my best to stay away from news as much as possible. The only time I want to be aware of news is if I know it's going to affect the market right then and there. CPI, PMI, job reports, things like that. I will be aware of it. Hey, we have news here, or Powell speaking or something like that. Hey, maybe I'm not going to trade during this super volatile time. I know some people love to trade news, but me, I like to stay away from it. I find that having a very simple approach to the market is the best way. That's why you see I have a price action strategy, but you don't see a bunch of stuff on my charts. I try to keep my focus on the price action. And again, I will be aware, I will be aware of news and things like that. But over the years, one thing I've noticed is that, the charts almost all, a lot of times they align with the news, right? A lot of times they'll show you what's happening. And, sometimes I've taken trades and then, we had a really good move based off a move that I was able to analyze based off solely price action. Then to find out that there was actually news around the same time, right? That probably helped propel this the right way. So that's just my, like I said, it may be unpopular, but I prefer to keep my head on the charts.
You know what? Whatever works for each individual trader, stay with it. It's like take the ball and run with it. If it works for you, fine. And that's what a lot of us, are trying to figure out. What works for me? Got a question from our YouTube channel. They're asking about on your chart, what's the purple and blue line? Blue line on top, purple on the bottom. What are those lines?
So the reason I have these purple and blue lines, these usually are entries and exits for me that I look for. So every time I have a purple line on my chart, it's probably a really, really strong level, right? I found on one of my time frames, right? I don't isolate I don't like color code my different time frames or anything like that. But when I have a purple line on here, it's like, okay, yeah, this is a really, really strong level. Like for instance, this right here for me would be a purple line as well, right? Just because you can see here, multiple rejections, right? False breakout here. Volume was really crappy. So I'm not surprised that this came back down, right? If we were to get a strong, let's say today we were able to get a strong move or strong push towards this level and potentially break out, I'd definitely be looking for a potential move here. If that were to happen. But that's usually something I put just like in the moment when I'm looking, like just to keep my mind sharp, and when I'm analyzing the charts.
Let me ask you, Isaac, what do you think are good qualities? Or let me rephrase that. What do you think the qualities are that make a good trader?
A good trader, I think probably the most important quality is a good trader has a longevity mindset. A good trader is somebody willing to chip away, not necessarily somebody that wants to come in and get it right now. Because when I talk about trading, you're talking about an industry where you can get paid, of the likes of professional athletes, actors, right? Lawyers, doctors. These are this kind of money a lot of people are making in the market. But I think social media is probably something that kind of makes people lose this idea, or people just got to understand, hey, it's not an overnight thing.
Right.
It's something you have to be willing to work at for a long time. So I think somebody who is patient but has a really good work ethic, those two combinations right there are probably the best qualities you can have in the market. Because somebody who's patient is obviously somebody who's willing to do the work. And somebody with a good work ethic is somebody who's going to do the right work and do the same level of work for a consistent basis until they get the results they're looking for. A lot of people aren't willing to suck. Right? You got to be willing to suck for a long time. I lost a lot of money. Like, you asked me my biggest win. Right, you've asked me my biggest win, but my biggest loss, like my biggest win was 60-some thousand. My biggest loss was also, I think, 64,000. Right, back when I had like crappy risk management. Right, I was making a lot of money, but then I had no risk management to back it up. Right, there's hard lessons that I had to learn time after time after time again, and not take that as a means to quit. Although you will want to sometimes, but also understand, like, hey, the only way I can guarantee I fail if I stop trying right now. But I know that eventually I'm gonna get it. Not because I was doing something special. That's who I am as a person. Like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, right? And I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I just chose to pursue something else because it got hard.
Right. You know, we got to experience failure. If we didn't, we wouldn't know how to get any better. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's a good lesson. I think we learn more from our failure than we do with our success. I mean, of course, we want to see success, but that's always that failure that sort of sticks in the back of the head. And could I have did something different? Did I do something wrong? And you're going to learn from that. And like Isaac says, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. So don't be in such a hurry. Break things down, journal. Go over your trades. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? And this is going to get you to the level where you want to be. So keep that in mind. Now, Isaac, we're short on time here, but I want to make sure I get these couple questions in. Somebody comes to you, a newer trader, and asks you for advice. What advice would you give somebody new to trading?
Seek education first. Don't be me, who I was when I first started trading. It's not that I didn't like education. I wasn't willing to invest in myself, but I was ignorant to the fact that education is the best way to do it. Eddie, you're somebody who's very experienced in the market. If I'm a brand new trader, do you think I can learn a lot faster and a lot more if I were to say, hey, Eddie, I know you have a mentorship program. Can I give you money to teach me your 30 plus years of experience so that I don't have to, spend the next 5, 6, 7 years trying to figure it out? You can just tell me what I should do, what I shouldn't do, what I should practice, what I shouldn't practice, good habits from bad habits, so I can skip the trial by fire that everybody goes through in the market who does it by themselves. I would say invest in yourself. Like, YouTube videos are great, but find somebody you really like, find somebody you really respect, and then invest in yourself. Because I promise you, if I had invested in a mentorship, no mentorship was more expensive than the money I lost in the market. Right. And not only did I lose money, but I lost a lot of time. Who knows where I could have been, maybe 3 years earlier had I sought that education first. Yeah. So if you're a newer trader, I would say don't even try to just get in here and start trading, because you can do it by yourself. But I believe you're much more efficient if you do seek help first.
Well said. Invest in yourself. I mean, it's all about you. Like we said earlier, you're the team. All right, it's all about you. You're making the calls. You're setting up the game plan. You're executing the shots. Mm-hmm. So it is about you, and you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. I can't agree more with that, Isaac. Now, Isaac, as I mentioned before we got on, that I have a fun question for you. Okay. Now I've got about 20 questions. So between the numbers 1 and 20, you pick a number, and I'm going to ask you that question.
Oh goodness. I'm going to choose number 5.
Number 5. Let's take. Okay, here we go. Number 5. What's the most memorable concert or live performance you've ever attended?
Yeah. So I was in Houston in 2021. And I got courtside seats to see LeBron James play for the first time in person.
Wow, courtside, huh?
Yeah, it was great.
Do you feel them like zipping by you when they come by? Do you feel that gust of air? I mean, that's like being right on the. I mean, that's like playing, man.
It was nice, man. It was nice.
That's cool. Now, before we let you go, my friend, if you can, please tell us about how we can get to tradewithblueprint.com. How can we get to that? What's in there?
Oh,
What do
for
we need to
sure.
do?
So the way we work, we have a community, a Discord where I trade live every single day. You can find all of that information on my Instagram, YouTube, wherever. It's Isaac Suffren everywhere. ISAAC SUFFREN. And I also, as you know, Eddie, as you mentioned earlier, I do have a mentorship program as well, where not only myself but other proven and just absolutely ridiculously skilled traders are they help coach the program as well, and all our members within the program. It's absolutely wonderful. All that information can be found, like I said, on my Instagram, YouTube, wherever you look. Just type in Isaac Suffren, and all that information will be there.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, Isaac, I really appreciate you stepping up to the plate for us. I'm going to ask you now so I can get a commitment. Can we have you back again?
For sure.
For
Just let me
sure.
know.
Awesome. So, hey, if you like what you heard, you like the mentorship and the camaraderie that Isaac has given us, hit that button, hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure that you check out tradewithblueprint.com. I posted it in the YouTube chat, and I'm sure that Danielle and Jack has posted it also. But Isaac, man, great time here. Keep up the great work. Keep teaching people. It's a good thing. It's a plus benefit, and being a positive as you are. I don't see how there's a losing venue anywhere that you can offer. So keep it up. Great stuff, and I'm looking forward to getting you back again.
I appreciate you, Eddie. I had a really good time.
All right. Until we meet again, my friend, all the best. And remember, tradewithblueprint.com. Isaac, have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir, Eddie. You have a good one. Thank you.
All right.